She argued with a stranger on a plane, then realized he was her future boss. The hum of the jet engines is a low, rhythmic vibration. It is 3 o'clock in the morning. Outside the window, there is nothing but an endless, ink-black void. Inside, the business class cabin is bathed in a soft amber glow. The air is sterile, smelling faintly of expensive leather and aged bourbon. Sienna does not belong here. Her struggling architectural firm usually books her in the very last row of economy. But tonight, a severely overbooked flight and a sympathetic gate agent handed her a rare stroke of luck, a complimentary upgrade to first class. She leans over her sketchbook. Her pencil moves with desperate, weary intensity. She is sketching the ancient oak trees of Oakland Park, a green sanctuary in one of the city's poorest neighborhoods. To her, these are the lungs of a community being suffocated by gentrification. Next to her sits a man in a crisp white shirt, his charcoal suit jacket draped over the empty seat between them. His name is Elias. He has spent the last hour staring at a complex spreadsheet on his laptop, his jaw set in a hard, uncompromising line. He swirls a glass of amber liquid, the ice clinking softly against the crystal. Elias glances over at her sketchbook. His voice is smooth, but it carries the chill of a winter morning. "It is a beautiful drawing," he says, without looking away from his screen, "but in the real world, it is worth exactly $0. Sienna freezes. The graphite lead of her pencil snaps. She turns to look at him, her eyes flashing with a sudden heat. "Excuse me?" "That park," Elias gestures vaguely with his glass. "It is a decaying corner of the city that produces nothing but crime. Sanitize it. Build a high-end commercial complex. That is how you solve an economic crisis. You do not solve it with old trees." Sienna slams her sketchbook shut. The sound echoes in the quiet cabin. She turns fully in her seat to face him. "You are the perfect embodiment of corporate rot," she says, her voice trembling with suppressed rage. "You look at human beings through the lens of an Excel spreadsheet. You count profits, while ignoring the souls of the people you uproot. You do not see a community. You only see a missed opportunity for a parking lot." Elias does not flinch. He takes a slow sip of his bourbon. His expression is a mask of cold pragmatism. "Morality does not pay the rent, young lady," he says quietly. "Reality does. If you do not make that land profitable, the city will sell it to someone far more ruthless than I am." "I doubt that is possible," Sienna snaps. She turns away, pulling her sweater tight around her chest, and stares out at the darkness. An hour passes. The cabin grows colder. Sienna, exhausted by a week of sleepless nights, finally succumbs to fatigue. Her head tilts back against the headrest. She shivers in her sleep. Her arms cross tightly as the air conditioning blows a steady stream of cold air over her. Elias stops typing. He looks at her for a long time. The harshness in his eyes softens for a fleeting second. He signals a flight attendant with a silent wave. "Could you bring a warm blanket for her?" he whispers, his voice almost lost to the engine hum. "Thank you." When the attendant brings the plush blanket, Elias takes it. He stands up quietly. With a surprising, practiced gentleness, he unfolds the fabric and drapes it over Sienna, tucking it in at her shoulders. He lingers for a moment, looking at her sketchbook on the floor. Then, he returns to his seat. He opens his laptop, his face returning to its cold, unyielding mask, leaving Sienna to dream of the park she thinks he is about to destroy. Morning sunlight cuts through the dusty, arched windows of the Brooklyn Architectural Studio. The room usually smells of fresh espresso, old blueprints, and chaotic optimism. But today, the air is thick with panic. Sienna pushes the heavy wooden door open, holding a cardboard tray of coffees. She stops dead in her tracks. No one is drafting. No one is arguing over CAD files. All 15 of her colleagues are huddled near the main drafting table, whispering frantically. "What is going on?" Sienna asks, setting the tray down. Marcus, the firm's founder, looks up. He looks 10 years older than he did on Friday. "We went under, Sienna," Marcus says, his voice hollow and defeated. "We could not make payroll. I had to sell. Vanguard Property Group bought us out this morning." Sienna's heart drops into her stomach. Vanguard. The corporate giant notorious for paving over local history to build sterile luxury condos. Before she can process the horror, the frosted glass door of the main conference room swings open. Heavy, measured footsteps echo against the hardwood floor. A man steps out into the morning light. He is wearing a tailored navy suit that screams wealth and power. His posture is flawless. His mere presence instantly drains the oxygen from the room. Sienna freezes. Her breath catches sharply in her throat. It is him. The man from the midnight flight. The man with the bourbon. The man she called the embodiment of corporate rot. Elias. He surveys the cluttered room with icy precision. His eyes sweep past the messy drafting tables, past the terrified employees, and finally, they land directly on Sienna. For 2 agonizing seconds, the world stops spinning. Elias tilts his head, just a fraction of an inch. A faint, almost imperceptible smirk touches the corner of his mouth. It is a look of absolute, undeniable control. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, the smirk vanishes. The mask of the ruthless CEO falls perfectly back into place. He looks away from her, completely dismissing her existence. "Good morning," Elias says. His voice is smooth, authoritative, and terrifyingly calm. "I am Elias Thorne. As of 8 o'clock this morning, Vanguard owns this firm. Your previous contracts are void. The rules of this office have changed." Sienna's hands clench into tight fists. Her nails dig painfully into her palms. "We do not design dreams here anymore," Elias continues, pacing slowly across the room. "We design profitable realities. Vanguard needs architects who intimately understand Brooklyn's zoning laws. We need local faces to get our blueprints past a stubborn city council. That is the only reason you are still sitting at your desks." He pauses. His eyes cut back to Sienna. This time, there is a sharp, calculating gleam in them. "I expect maximum efficiency," he says, his voice dropping to a dangerous register. "Anyone who lets personal, sentimental ideals interfere with my deadlines can pack their desk and leave immediately." He turns on his heel and walks back into the conference room, shutting the door behind him. Sienna stands frozen amidst the terrified whispers of her colleagues. The puzzle pieces violently snap together in her mind. He did not buy this failing firm by accident. He bought it because he needed the best local talent to quietly bypass the city's regulations. He needed her. A cold wave of dread washes over Sienna. Her career, her livelihood, and the fate of her city's architecture are now resting squarely in the hands of her worst enemy. The executive floor of Vanguard Property Group is a fortress of glass, steel, and suffocating silence. There are no coffee stains here, no chaotic blueprints, just cold, calculating power. Sienna walks into the CEO's office. Elias stands by a massive floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the New York skyline as if it is a chessboard. He turns. He does not offer her a seat. He simply picks up a thick, glossy dossier and slides it across his pristine marble desk. "Apex Plaza," Elias says. "Our new flagship project." Sienna steps forward and opens the folder. Her breath catches sharply in her throat. Staring back at her is the topographical map of Oakland Park. It is the exact green space she was sketching on the airplane. "A luxury commercial center," Elias continues, his voice devoid of emotion. "High-end retail, fine dining, glass and steel, highly profitable." Sienna slams the folder shut. "No," she says, her voice trembling with disgust. "Absolutely not. I am not destroying a community sanctuary to build a playground for billionaires. I resign." She turns on her heel and marches toward the heavy glass door. "Go ahead," Elias says. His voice does not rise. It does not need to. It hits her back like a physical blow. Sienna stops, her hand hovering over the silver doorknob. Elias leans against his desk, casually crossing his arms. "You can walk out that door, Sienna," he says smoothly. "You can keep your pure, untouched moral high ground. But tomorrow morning, I will hire someone else. I will hire a corporate architect who does not care about Oakland Park or its history. They will pave over every single inch of grass and build a soulless concrete block just to maximize my profit margin." Sienna turns slowly. Her eyes are burning with defiant anger. "But if you stay," Elias takes a slow step forward, his dark gaze locking onto hers, "you will be the lead architect. You can use your undeniable talent to save a piece of that neighborhood's soul. You can fight for your green spaces, your community areas, within my budget." The silence in the room is deafening. The hum of the city below feels millions of miles away. "So," Elias whispers, his tone cutting through the quiet, "what will it be? Do you want to be a good person who runs away? Or do you want to be a useful person who stays and fights?" Sienna stares at the man in the tailored suit. Her chest heaves. She hates his arrogance. She hates the cold, mechanical logic in his eyes. But she hates the truth even more. He is absolutely right. If she leaves, Oakland Park is dead. If she stays, she can be the Trojan horse. She can protect the community from the inside. Sienna walks slowly back to the marble desk. She picks up the Apex Plaza dossier, clutching it to her chest like a shield. "I will design your plaza," Sienna says, her voice low and laced with venom. "But I will fight you for every single tree, every single inch of soil." Elias tilts his head, a ghost of a smirk returning to his lips. "I expect nothing less," he replies. It is 9 p.m. The Brooklyn architectural studio is swallowed by shadows. The only source of light is the harsh, white glow of Sienna's desk lamp. On her monitor slowly revolves the 3D render of Apex Plaza. It is a masterpiece of modern luxury, glass, steel, and ruthless perfection. To her colleagues, she is a traitor. They leave at 5 o'clock now, shooting her looks of quiet disgust as they walk out the door. They whisper that she sold her soul to the corporate devil just to keep her paycheck. Let them think it. Sienna's fingers fly across the keyboard, but she is not just designing, she is hunting. For 2 weeks, she has been quietly searching the company's restricted network for a fatal flaw. A zoning violation, an environmental hazard, a trail of dirty money. She is desperate for anything to prove that Elias Thorne is the monster she knows he is. But his digital footprint is spotless, too spotless. She needs the master files. The unredacted, raw financial data is kept on a secure local drive inside the CEO's office. Sienna stands up. Her heart begins a slow, heavy drumbeat against her ribs. She slips down the silent hallway. The glass door to Elias's office is locked, but she knows the old override code. A soft click. She is in. The office smells faintly of cedar and rain. It feels exactly like stepping into a predator's den. Sienna moves quickly to the sleek server tower beneath his massive mahogany desk. She inserts her encrypted USB drive. The monitor flickers to life, casting a pale blue light across her tense face. Transferring data. 20%. Sienna bites her lip. The progress bar crawls. The silence of the building is deafening. 50%. 80%. Ding. The soft chime of the private elevator arriving at the executive floor shatters the silence. Sienna freezes. Heavy, measured footsteps step onto the hardwood floor. They are not the rushed steps of a security guard. They are deliberate, authoritative. It is Elias. 82%. 84%. The footsteps are halfway down the hall. 86%. He is at the door. Sienna yanks the USB from the port. The screen snaps black. She scrambles backward, diving under the heavy wooden desk just a fraction of a second before the glass door swings open. The overhead lights snap on. Sienna curls her knees to her chest in the narrow, dark space beneath the desk. She presses both hands over her mouth to muffle her breathing. Elias's polished leather shoes come into view. He walks around the desk. He is so close she can smell the damp wool of his coat. He sighs a heavy, exhausted sound that does not fit the image of a ruthless billionaire. He opens a drawer right above her head. Papers shuffle. He is looking for a specific document. Sienna shuts her eyes tight. Her heart is hammering so violently against her ribs she is terrified the sound will betray her. Just a little longer, please. Elias pushes the drawer shut. He lingers for one agonizing second. His shoes pivot slightly toward the computer tower. Did he notice the warmth of the machine? Did she leave a trace? Then, his cell phone buzzes. Yes, I have the contract. Elias's deep voice rumbles through the quiet room. I am leaving now. His footsteps recede. The lights snap off. The door clicks shut. Sienna remains completely still in the pitch black for 5 full minutes. Finally, she exhales a long, shaky breath and opens her hand. The metal USB drive digs sharply into her palm. She has the data. Now, it is time to bring down the monster. Rain lashes against the window of Sienna's Brooklyn apartment. The city outside is a blur of neon and wet asphalt. Inside, the only light comes from the harsh, clinical glow of her laptop screen. It is 2 a.m. She has been running decryption software on the stolen USB drive for 3 agonizing hours. Click. The progress bar hits 100%. The firewall drops. Sienna leans forward, her pulse quickening. She opens the master directory. She is hunting for offshore bank accounts. She is looking for bribes to city officials or environmental cover-ups. She is ready to find the monster's footprint. But she finds nothing. The financial ledgers are immaculate. Every single dollar is legally accounted for. Frustrated, Sienna digs deeper into the hidden subfolders. At the very bottom, she finds a restricted file named Master Plan, Phase 2, Confidential. She double-clicks it. A massive architectural blueprint loads onto the screen. Next to it is a dense, 50-page legal document. Sienna squints, her eyes scanning the complex schematics. She sees Apex Plaza, the luxury commercial center Elias forced her to design. But then, she sees the grid lines extending behind it into the old Oakland Park footprint. Directly behind the glamorous glass and steel plaza is a second structure, a massive, high-quality community housing complex, a free public health clinic, a modernized public school. Sienna quickly opens the legal document. It is an ironclad trust. She reads the financial structuring, her jaw slowly dropping. The luxury plaza is not the end goal. It is an engine, a meticulously designed money-printing machine. The trust dictates a strategy of cross-subsidy. 60% of all retail profits and luxury rent from Apex Plaza are legally locked in for the next 50 years. The funds will automatically, irrevocably subsidize the housing and the school. The Vanguard Board of Directors cannot touch a single cent of it. The contract is unbreakable. The truth hits Sienna with the force of a physical blow. The greedy shareholders would never have approved a massive charity